All right, business owners, today we're going to talk about the different types of lead generation ads. A lot of times when business owners are putting together ads, they're like thinking like, what type of ad can work best for me? And I think that it just really depends on what type of business you have and the goals of your business. What is the end result that you want, and that will determine number one what type of ads you want to make. So I'm gonna talk about three different ones right now. There's different variations of these, but these are the ones that you're gonna most likely see out there in the market. So the first one is direct response. So a direct response ad is like, let me give you an example. You see, like for my watch here, you either get a catalog where it's showing you something and it's asking you to buy, or you see a TV commercial and they're showing you something and they're asking you to buy, or you see like a TV infomercial where they're demonstrating and then they have a 800 number and they want you to call. A direct response ad is always going to try to sell you on something. The reason why they call it direct response is because they want you to directly respond and buy something. These are very difficult ads to make it on unless you have like a high back end offer to make up on it, because it can be very, very expensive. Most people don't even understand how hard it is to sell something to someone that you don't know. And the reason why infomercials do good, but even with infomercials, only 3% of all of the infomercials that are put together are successful, because it's very difficult to get people, even if you're able to demonstrate what you have for them, it's very difficult to get them to buy. And then even if you get them to buy, if it's not a high enough ticket, it's going to be very hard for you to be able to make it with your advertising, because the expense of just advertising the product is going to be a lot. So direct response, the examples that I just gave, like if you see a commercial and they're trying to get you to call an 800 number, they're trying to get you to take direct action, that's a direct response type ad. And it could be on TV, radio, it could be on the internet, it could be anywhere. The next one is an info type ad. This is where someone could either offer you information on something, and that information could be positive or negative. When I was doing a webinar, someone had asked me, well, what do you mean by a positive ad or a negative ad? Well, a positive ad could be like, let me give you an example, 10 things that you could do to increase your credit score. Like that's an ad. So that's like a positive, like give me some information that's positive and I'll be able to do that. Or 10 different foods that you can eat to help you lose weight. That's like on the positive side. But you could flip that around and you could say 10 foods you want to stay away from because it's going to have you blow up and, help you. It's going to make you gain weight. So that's like a negative type ad. And then, or you can have one that say 5 things that you want to avoid because it will make your credit score go down. That's a negative. So you can see the difference. You have a positive side and negative side. Now, which do you think gets the most response? And that also goes into why it's hard to sell people on a direct response, is that most people, we as humans, are built more to pay attention to the negative. So if you make an ad and you're telling people things that they can avoid, they're going to be like, well, if this person is telling me to avoid it, they have nothing to gain in it. Like, they don't even put that 2 and 2 together. They don't even think about it like, who's telling me the stuff to avoid? So they don't even put that together. But when it's on the positive side, when you're telling someone something positive that they can do, they could always have that thing in the back of their mind where they'll put that 2 plus 2 equals 4, and 4 equals something to the person who's putting the ad together. They're going to get something for me doing it. That's just the way that we're built as humans. So if you run ads that are negative, and I don't mean where you're trying to be negative. I'm saying like you're telling people things that they can avoid. There was an example someone gave, like they said, if you're driving down the street and someone has a sign saying there's a pot of gold at the end of this street, people wouldn't believe it. But if they said that the bridge is out at the end of the street, people would believe it. People would believe. Some people might go to drive to see if it's out, but they're not going to go flying over there to see that it's out. And they're not, definitely, a lot of them are not going to go flying over there to believe that there's a pot of gold over there. So the negative wins, but you got to be careful, because a lot of the platforms, especially if you're advertising on the internet, on Facebook or TikTok or those like that, they want you to be very careful about having negative ads. So you might have to do some testing, because some of those ads may not get approved. But on TV, radio, places like that, they haven't changed their terms, and they will allow negative type ads to be placed. Now the next one is branding. This is the one I call where people get into branding when they can't get any of this to work. They just say, well, I just want to get my name out there. Well, if you're a small business, getting your name out there is important, but getting your name out there isn't going to bring you money. You need to do lead generation, because if you're not doing lead generation, it's going to be tough. And so we know that direct response is where you're trying to get somebody to buy something, to take some type of action. Very difficult. This is where I think you should study right here, is these two right here. Info. Give people information so you can get their information, and then you can follow back up with them to sell them your product or service. So let me detail it out for you. Let's just detail this out, because this makes sense. It'll make sense to you. So if people, we got the know, we have the like, and we have the trust. If people have to run through this process before in mass that they're going to buy something from you, you might make a couple of sales, but if you in mass, you're going to have to run through that process. So if you're running an ad, and it's an info ad, it could be the negative or the positive. It could be either one of those. And then you're capturing name, email, phone number, or maybe you're just going to get the email address. And then you're sending them to your sales page or thank you page. Whatever it is, you send them there. Maybe you make an offer, maybe you don't. Maybe you just let them know you're going to follow back up with them. But then you put them through a follow-up process. Now, trust me, I've worked with clients. I've worked even with my own businesses. I've always I've it's got to be an easier way to do this. It's got to be an easier way. I'll run through it. My clients will go through it. They'll be like, man, I get leads, and then what I got to do with them and to be able to convert those leads. But I'm telling you, people, it's not just your leads. People who are responding to ads are being bombarded by TV, radio, billboards, all over. There's online messages all over. It's hitting them. So the way that you get their attention is to get them into your follow-up process, because when they're in your follow-up process, guess whose advertisement hits them that is not disturbed? So picture this. They're scrolling on Facebook and they see your ad, and then they scroll and there's some other stuff, something about a friend, all this stuff that they got, but they become a lead, and then they get onto your follow-up process. When you're doing your follow-up process, is there anyone that's disturbing them? They wanted what you had to offer because they wouldn't become a lead. But then once they're in your follow-up process, what could you do? Let's open up our minds. If they're in your follow-up process, do you think that you would have a better opportunity to be able to sell those individuals? Do you think that maybe you would be able to sell them that your flagship product and maybe even other partner products or services that you might want to offer. See, that's the thing that you have to understand. And everybody's trying to get people to do some easy way when all you have to do is to just follow the system. The system is to learn how to make ads that will get people to become leads and put them through a follow-up process, send them to a sales page, whatever way that you want to craft your sales process, you get to do that. But the number one thing, the most important thing, is that you generate leads. You generate leads so you have an audience that you control. It's like you having your own Facebook with an email or with a text message or by calling people. You're in control. You're giving your business the control to be able to make sales. So that means that the more people, just look at this here. Just look at this. The more people, so this is your ad. This is your funnel. The more people you dump into here is the more money you're gonna make down here. That doesn't look good. I don't like how that looks. Look at this. The more money you're gonna make down here. So you need to get as many people flowing into there, and then you'll be able to figure out a way to monetize those people. But if you don't have people to talk to, how are you gonna figure out ways to monetize those people? Like, it's like the chicken or the egg. Well, we know in this experiment here, we know with this process here that you need to run an ad first. You need to figure out how to get people to click your ad. You got to figure out how to get people to become a lead for your ad. And then you got to figure out how to send them through a process to turn them into money. It's that simple. It's that simple. Hey, thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel. Please post your questions and comments. I have links for services below this video or above this video. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of Let's Level Up Your Business 5-Day Challenge.